Yeah, I know a guy who could hold him to 50. That's John Maakaron. I mean, you put John out there. John, even at his age, I think John could cover him. I think John's got it in him. He was at Allen Park asking some tough questions. It was great. We're going to have him on, join the fellas like he does every single Wednesday. You guys know what time it is. Please welcome Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated's own and host of the Detroit Sports Podcast. And again, as always, this interview is brought to you guys by BetUS. Please welcome to the show our good friend, Mr. John Maakaron. John, how you doing, my man?
Man, kind of a bummer to talk about a loss, but another opportunity for redemption this weekend on the road at Arizona. And I think I might even be taller than Kyler Murray. So you got an opportunity to lay the smackdown on a quarterback that did some things against the Rams. My God, they had an offensive explosion, right? But what I'm drinking today after a loss, a little bit down, I go to the good old ice cold Coors Light. Whenever you're down and out, cold Coors Light gets the job done, man. I got a couple here. Looking forward to the conversation. Man, at the same time, maybe mix in some Tigers. Here come them Tigers, man. They kind of have been young and dumb doing their thing, and it's great. I just have been enjoying the Detroit sports scene, but hopefully the Detroit Lions get their offensive, get their shit together offensively, because, my God, it's been disappointing the first couple of weeks.
I mean, John, we did a segment right before you joined about just impact players. And I do it every single Wednesday, guys, that I'm looking forward to seeing this week. And I'll start it off with the quarterback, most important position. And the thing that frustrated me so much, John, last week is it seems like it kept saying, like, well, the game plan was to throw the football, which I completely understand. But they took it to a whole nother level. 55 pass attempts, John, is just not acceptable. I think Jared's like 1-7, 11 passing touchdowns to 13 interceptions when he throws the ball 50 or more times. And that's not just Jared. That's around the NFL. No quarterback, probably besides Mahomes, can have success throwing the ball that much. So this week, I think a fair game plan, keep his pass attempts under 30. What was your thoughts on just that and what to expect this week? Kind of getting back to the Lions' identity, running the football, establishing play action, so on and so forth.
Well, I don't want to start no controversy here on Crunch Time, but if you're paying a quarterback $53 million, maybe you would expect him to step his ass up and be able to handle it. But look, all you got to ask yourself is, why did I ask Dan Campbell directly, why are you throwing the football 55 times? Well, the answer is, the more you do that, the more one-dimensional this offense is, or any offense, the worse off it is. Too predictable. Ben Johnson clearly in this situation got out-schemed by Todd Bowles and the Bucs defense. And it just happens. It's the third time. Ben Johnson clearly did not have his best play calling day. Jared Goff, his first 2 games based on PFF grades, worst in his tenure in Motown. So, look, opportunities galore to rebound, and it just hasn't been good enough, clearly. Jared Goff knows it. That's the Goff that everybody complained about from the Rams, that Sean McVay said, get the heck out of here. We don't want that guy. But hopefully, with Sam Laporta getting healthier week by week, another week of Tim Patrick learning the offense and getting into the groove and running the right break when Goff expects him to be in instead of going out, you hope that miscommunication clears itself up. No doubt about it. I think everybody was like, wait a minute. We all just saw the offensive line bully the Los Angeles Rams. Well, guys, there's another reason to drink. The offensive line stunk it up. The interior, guys, Frank Ragnow did not look good. He got beat up a little bit. And you hate to say it because you don't see it too often. Frank Ragnow did not have his best performance, and it caused, when they did try to run it, 2nd and long, 3rd and long. And so, unfortunately, the execution of the running game wasn't there. It's surprising. Yes, they need to execute better, and collectively, the offensive line and Ben Johnson need to execute at a higher level. And I do think they're going to tighten the ship. No doubt about it, because if they don't, Arizona's going to boat race them.
What's going on, guys? It's Jeff Iafrate. I interrupted today's video to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, and that is BetUS. And they are offering the Crunch Time Sports community 150% on your guys' first 3 deposits with promo code YouTube150. Promo code YouTube150. Head to betus.com. They have a ton of lines that you can get in on now. Like this one that I really do like a lot. Aiden Hutchinson, 2-win Defensive Player of the Year. He comes in with the 6th best odds at plus 1,100. I'm going to go ahead and put $100 to win $1,100 and lock it in. There you go. And not just this, there's a ton of other lines, Detroit Lions related, and go check them out only on BetUS. Let's get back to the video.
Hey, Doc, I want to throw this out there. The whole Alex Anzalone situation, and I know it's a weird situation going on because he was off the practice. He was out of practice today with the concussion. What does the protocol look like for that? And like, what should we be looking for this week to see if Anzal will play? And then if he doesn't play, and I think I could be wrong. I think it was you that asked the question about Jack Campbell. Could be wrong. I apologize if I am, but I think I heard your voice. What are your thoughts on Jack Campbell stepping in? Do you think he can fill that role and actually go out there and make a difference in this Lions defense and kind of continue this thing that this defense has going?
Yes, it was myself that asked.
I knew it. Let's go, Doc.
It was me because I had a story. Listen, first and foremost, I want to say the joy of this job. Had an opportunity today, had an in-depth conversation with Jack Campbell one-on-one. As everybody was talking to Goff, I still have to go back and listen to what Goff said. I mean, pretty much clearly he probably said without me even hearing a word, well, we're confident. We have no issues. We're going to bounce back. No problem. We're built to sustain everything. There's going to be no issues, like all that kind of nonsense. I chose, when Goff was talking today, again, to talk to somebody else. I talked to Jack Campbell, and he's ready. He's ready to be able to handle the green dot if necessary. He's had the opportunity last year when Anzalone missed, when they played the Saints. So this linebacking core is pretty solid with Derek Barnes, Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Neiman, and Jalen Reeves-Maybin. They'll be okay. But if it's a long-term injury, if it's a situation where Anzalone's brain injury, he's currently in the concussion protocol. If it lasts for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, you might start to see some struggles there in terms of teams maybe trying to test the middle. But I think this linebacking core has grown together, and Kelvin Shepard has done a good job prepping everybody to do a lot of different things. So, and don't discount Rodrigo. Maybe this is an opportunity for him to get some reps. But Jack Campbell, check it out on Detroit Lions on SI. You can hear I used most of the conversation that we had. He's like, I'm ready to go. He's handled it before. He's done well in the rush and against the pass. So everybody's confident in him, and so am I. I think he's ready to handle it and maybe even showcase why, if Anzalone's time is coming to an end this year or next year, Jack Campbell can step in and give everybody confidence that he's got the right mindset. I just love talking to him. We can talk defense, we can talk ball, and he gives me the respect that I deserve, and we have a good time chatting. I talked for about 5-6 minutes, and I always enjoy. I just enjoy having the chance to talk to him, and I talked to Penei Sewell. Those two guys, I think, like me the most. Maybe some others don't, but the two guys that like the DOC, Penei Sewell never turned me down for a chat, and Jack Campbell regularly will talk defense with the DOC. And that's a good thing because he's the future, and I love talking ball with him. I think he's ready. So no concerns. The concern defensively, if you're going to go in that direction, Terrion Arnold's a little handsy, man, and he's getting whatever the reason is, some of it not deserved, but he's got to start sending some love and some beers and some whatever he's got to do to these officials so they stop dropping the flag on him, because he's not being able to play his physical style from Alabama. Little too handsy, little too aggressive at the NFL level. And we'll see how this finger injury plays out on Thursday. He didn't practice Wednesday, but you need a little bit of a jump from Terrion Arnold. Not a big jump, but he's got to stop with the penalties because they're costly. And at the same token, you kind of want to see a little bit more. The tackling is great. The other stuff is good, but he's just got to be a little bit better with not taking some penalties. And unfortunately, if you saw the film, the Godwin touchdown is a little bit on TA in regards to, it was a great call from the Bucs, but a little bit of at fault from TA letting that Godwin be that open.
We were just talking about it, Doc. Sticking with the secondary, you look at this Arizona offense, you look at Kyler Murray. I think the NFL has just been weird so far. Guys like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Derek Carr look like MVP candidates, and Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and a bunch of these star quarterbacks are struggling. But I think when you look at the secondary pound for pound with Arizona's wide receiver core, even if Terrion is playing a little banged up, Ennis a little banged up, I think this is a chance for the Lions secondary to actually go in there and make a statement, because Marvin Harrison just had a huge week. But outside of them, Trey McBride is a tight end. I do respect him, but he hasn't been doing much. What do you think the secondary is going to look like this Sunday, following what was a pretty good following Sunday against the Buccaneers? When you look at Mike Evans and Chris Godwin went off. Baker only threw for about 185 yards. So what do you expect this Sunday from the secondary?
Yeah, Carlton Davis also didn't grade well PFF wise. He did give up receptions based on the targets that came his way, but Mike Evans didn't really go off. So I look at it from the perspective of, look, you don't let Harrison beat you. And here's the the formula in my kind of estimation of how defense. You kind of saw the Buccaneers execute a little bit the game plan in terms of stifling the Lions in the red zone, but giving up all those yards. That's exactly what I would kind of presume. You let the Cardinals, if you can, keep them in front of you, no explosive plays. And if they get to the red zone, but you stop them to field goals, that's the key. And I think that the secondary is going to play a part. Look, Marvin Harrison is legit. So Carlton Davis is going to have another opportunity to limit a young cat, Terrion Arnold as well. So I look at it from the perspective of give up a bunch of yards and limit them to field goals. And I do think they bounce back. Carlton Davis is a guy that is now going to get more comfortable week after week. And I did, looking at the film, the game plan was interesting against the Bucs. They played a lot of zone. I want to see, do they play man-to-man a little bit more? Do they test it out? Do they get a little bit more physical? It's just, it's tough. It's based on how these officials are going to call the game. But look, I just think that when you got Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch back there, you have a little bit more comfort of help over the top. Maybe you give a little extra attention to Harrison, and you make it so that really defensively, you make Kyler Murray one-dimensional. You let Connor kind of get rid of you limit the running game, and you make it so that Kyler Murray's got to throw the ball. And I think he might turn the ball over. This is the key. I think that was the biggest thing that I didn't see in this game against the Bucs that you kind of have seen. Maybe that big turnover that would have changed the momentum a little bit in the Lions' favor. I think they get it this week.
Yeah, John, we talked about it too a little bit ago, but the Cardinals surprisingly being pretty good against tight ends. They've only allowed 46 yards on the year, and they faced Dalton Kincaid. The Rams, I mean, they don't really have a tight end. But Dalton Kincaid, they did kind of limit. Sam Laporta looking to have a bounce-back game. Your thoughts on just maybe this week being the game he arrives and gets back? I know he's been banged up, so it's taking a little longer. But also, not just the Sam Laporta thing, this offense, like it being more like J-Mo, and I had this conversation on this show. I always said it depends. Amon-Ra is going to get his. How do you feel about J-Mo or Sam Laporta? If you're higher on J-Mo, maybe he gets 1,000. If you're higher on Sam Laporta, maybe he gets 1,000. Right now, with how Sam Laporta's kind of looked catching up, John, seems like J-Mo's the one that's going to be the 1,000-yard guy. What do you think about the whole Sam Laporta thing and how the offenses look so far without him?
Yeah, and just real fast to Easy's point, how would he know if Jack Campbell wasn't ready? Kind of Alex Anzalone has been the guy that's kind of been the leader and has been dominant. So I do think that Jack can do a little bit more in coverage. And, of course, he can always improve moving forward and things like that with awareness and stuff. But remember, at the Mike spot, and I asked him directly, I said, a lot of people want to know what you got going on at the Mike spot. Like, what do you got to do? And he's like, you got to do everything. So you got so much going on in terms of reading and recognizing. And, of course, at this level, guys, you got to also remember that second-year player learning the game, offenses at this point in time have abilities and using pre-snap motion to kind of disguise run plays versus pass play. It's so difficult on a whim to stop and move and be able to do things. So there's going to take an adjustment period. But I think that this game, if Campbell gets over 70%, you'll see more of an impact. He's good against the run, can still be better in coverage and things like that. So easy, don't hate on Jack Campbell just yet. Wait till you see this game if he does get the opportunity a little bit more, and then we can have a little bit more of a sample size to discuss. Now, look, it is the $1 million question. How do you fix this offense? And Dan Campbell said, well, we didn't kind of involve Sam Laporta because there was a risk of injury, and if you have somebody and you give him 50% of the install and he gets hurt, now you're kind of SOL, you're screwed, and you're in a position where you don't have the primary target. So they've kind of eased him in a little bit. So I kind of understand that perspective. Now you hope that clearly Ben Johnson has to step it up in terms of his creative play calling, not running the ball right up the middle all the time, it was weird too with the routes. They were kind of bunched up at times. It just didn't seem as crisp as possible. So how do you fix this offense? First and foremost, the offensive line, it starts there. Those 5 guys got to rebound and make it so that Ben Johnson can – the reason why Ben Johnson kept calling the runs in overtime, they were getting 4 yards a clip. The reason why they stopped running against the Bucs is 2nd and 8, 3rd and 9. They just unfortunately got into it where the Lions figured out, well, it seems like the Bucs have taken away the run, and unfortunately, Goff and the offense weren't able to overcome the challenge. But I do think that more balance, less passes from Jared Goff, and more David Montgomery as opposed to Jahmyr Gibbs at times. Pound the rock, establish the run, and then the screen game has to be a lot more creative. There were so many negative plays on the screens. It was crazy. The Bucs were right there ready to handle it. You got to be a little bit more creative in the passing game, out in the flats a little bit. You got to use Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit differently than the same old tired reps and runs that Ben Johnson used, because clearly the Buccaneers were jumping it and they knew what was coming pretty quickly. So you got to use pre-snap motion a little bit more to kind of tell Jared Goff if it's man versus zone. You got to be a little bit better in all areas. But yes, Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think are going to carry the day. But running the football and the offensive line will be key this week. If they don't, guys, it could get out of hand pretty quickly. Kyler Murray was confident as all hell in what he was doing, and you hope that, the defensive line holds up, because for whatever reason, Aaron Glenn, we've talked about it, he gets a little upset, and so does Calvin Shepard. Everybody just thinks, well, you use a spy. They just have been hesitant to use a spy to limit Kyler Murray and other running quarterbacks. You don't want to see him scooting all over the place, because he embarrassed the Rams defense.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, Doc, offensively, just kind of a little deeper into the offense. When it comes to the red zone, obviously the 1 for 7 wasn't ideal, and honestly, I went back last year. The most times they were in the red zone, I think the last 2 seasons with Ben Johnson was 6 times. What do you think is the problem with this whole red zone situation? I heard Ben say it's like a play here or there, or no, it wasn't Ben Johnson. I think it was Dan Campbell that said, hey, there's just a couple things here and there that we got to tweak. What are your thoughts on the whole red zone situation? Because if you score once in the red zone last week, you win the football game. 1 for 7. I mean, I would love to know in the last 10 years how many NFL teams went 1 for 7 and only lost by 1 possession when it came down to the end. So what are your thoughts on this whole red zone situation?
Yeah, well, cheers. Well, first of all, cheers to your chat. Yes, Slappy, all good, man. Who doesn't? I mean, come on, man. Cheers to that. You made me smile, man. You distracted me. Let me say who doesn't? Let me say this. That red zone performance was god awful. You go back and watch, I'm like, oh my God, why am I watching this? Penalties, it was uncreative, and that's the time when you got to kind of outmatch your opposition. Because look, the NFL, and that's the dumbest thing people will say is, oh my God, they, respectfully, oh my God, they had so many yards, and that's a good telling sign. Listen, I told you guys that last week. Everybody wants to give up. Everybody does not want to give up an explosive play, so they'll let you have 5 yards in the secondary. They'll let you have it as long as they don't. They believe that once the space is condensed in the red zone, they'll limit the points and the touchdowns. Basically, the Buccaneers did better. They executed what the Lions typically do better than the Lions did. So in the red zone, first and foremost, there were a couple of plays where you sit there and you go, man, you got literally Sam Laporta blocking here. First and foremost, if you want to score a touchdown in the end zone, you might need to throw the ball into the end zone. So they did with J-Mo. That didn't work, but they kind of went away from it. It just kind of seemed like the end zone scared the shit out of the Lions this week, and they just weren't able to execute at the highest level. This week, I think they'll get back to it. They'll throw the ball into the end zone with J-Mo and Amon-Ra and pound the rock a little bit more effectively, and maybe a couple draw plays or some inside handoffs that aren't directly into the middle of the teeth of the defensive line. And I do think that clearly Frank Ragnow is going to step it up. He's not going to play as bad as he did this last week. And I think that the two guys that really didn't play well, Glasgow and Frank Ragnow, on the film didn't shake out all that great. So I do think that they'll execute at a higher level and things will look a little bit smoother I think this week they're going to emphasize route running, crispness, and depth, and they're going to understand that, hey, that 1 for 7 is unheard of, like you said, with that many yards. It's statistical history to see that kind of incompetence in the red zone.
And something that was a bright spot on Sunday was the defense, in particular the defensive line. But a guy that you didn't hear called on the stat sheet or really on the call was Lee McNeil. And I don't think he's played bad, but I just want to get what have you thought so far? You see Levi Onwuzurike has a sack on the season, 2 games with half a sack. We haven't seen Lee McNeil get back there yet. What have you taken away so far from what he's done so far this season, Doc?
Yeah, no, I think that the benefit of DJ Reader is going to progressively allow Lee McNeil to continue his game. Clearly, the star of the show was Aiden Hutchinson and Levi. the last couple of weeks. Davenport's going to hopefully trend in the right direction. But for Ali McNeil, the great thing is that it allows him to be stout against the run, to be somebody that, along with DJ Reader, can really allow Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell to roam free and do their thing. I think he's been steady. And it's one of those things where he doesn't end up, he's always in the right situation. He's gap responsible. He's not, giving up too much in regards to battles inside the trenches. So good player, man. He's working hard, and I think he's going to benefit tremendously when DJ Reader ups his snap count. My goodness, you're just going to see more great things, and you'll start to see him light up the stat sheet a little bit more. It's one of those situations in which this week, man, the coverage was in the situation from the offensive line of the Buccaneers. They just, one of those situations in which they knew that they were shorthanded, and Aiden Hutchinson took advantage, and DJ Reader playing 25 snaps opened things up for Aiden. So, hey, now you have an opportunity again to potentially have some more impact with DJ Reader, Ali McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike. To me, the highlight of the season so far has been the defensive line. They've come to deliver, and they've helped this defense do a lot of things. Clearly, a couple things against the Bucs defensively were the explosive plays. You limit that, you handle business. I think this defensive line, as the season goes on, is going to be the story of the league. I think they're going to be violent. They're going to be aggressive.
Love it.
You just look at it. Hutchinson, Levi, DJ Reader, Ali McNeil, and Marcus Davenport, get the hell out of here. They're going to start making shirts. Easy, and you guys are going to start making shirts on this defensive line. Start thinking of some creative names.
Well, we need some nicknames. We need some nicknames for this defensive line.
Right? They need some violent nicknames to talk about these guys, because they're there to wreak havoc. And right now, as I finish this, it's the House of Hutch, and the rest of it, these guys will, once they get in gear and follow the leader. Oh my God, man!
What about the heavyweights? How about that name for them? I'm playing.
Yeah, easy in the chat. Hey, man. Doc, we already have a shirt coming out. Hey, the number one focus, we're gonna have a shirt that says "Run the Ball," so that way fans can buy it, go to the stadium, and when Ben looks into the stands, just like a little glance, he just sees 100, 150, 300, 1,000 people with just "Run the Ball" shirts, just to remind him what matters here. And I'll ask you, 1-1, 2 weeks so far, what's been the most surprising thing? You can give me one good, one bad through 2 weeks so far. The one surprising thing that you didn't expect, or maybe you did.
Yeah, let's see. In terms of the offense, I thought they would click a little bit more. I am surprised clearly about Sam Laporta. I did think that he would kind of have a historical year like George Kittle, kind of would start getting into that Travis Kelce mode where all the balls go to him and he just takes over. So it's been a slow start for him. The offense in general, just not lighting it up to that degree. I look at it from the perspective of I'm very impressed with the defense. I think they've done enough to win. That side of the ball is spectacular. I think that they've done enough through 2 games to be very much respectable. The offensive line week 1 was good enough. Week 2, kind of a little bit. It's a little bit surprising for them to have a bad game. I think that, it takes time. I think maybe the best way to put it is every year we all expect that teams will just kind of start the year with the chemistry and go. But you lost Jonah Jackson and Josh Reynolds, and the offense kind of doesn't look as smooth. So it's a transition period. It's not going to be as great, but, you look at it and you say, well, how the hell are the Saints dropping dimes? I know they're playing shitty defenses, but they got a new coordinator. They got Derek Carr back there, and I was jealous, though. I did watch the Saints game twice, and I was like, man, guys, if you want to see what the future could look like, if Jahmyr Gibbs turns into Alvin Kamara, just watch what Alvin Kamara did last week. What the hell? Insane. It was special. I was like, all I kept thinking was, if this is Jahmyr Gibbs, if this is what the Lions could get, it's not there yet. But if that's what's on the horizon in 2-3 years, my God. But the offensive line struggling was a little bit concerning against the Buccaneers. And also, too, I guess to say it is, I wouldn't expect our coaches to get out-schemed by somebody else. But, you recognize that it was the 3rd time the Buccaneers had played the Lions. They kind of knew what was there. And I just thought that Todd Bowles worked Ben Johnson this week.
Yeah, wow. I had Alvin Kamara in fantasy. Still lost. You can go, Boone.
That's tough. Hey, Doc, this is what I want you to do for the people, and I'm interested to see where you're at with this. I've been trying to calm the people down for the last 2 days on the show. I would like to see where you're just at. The Lions are 1-1. long season ahead. I'm sure you are all over the internet, like on Twitter. You're very locked in, so I'm sure you've seen a lot of the Jared Goff hate. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the Detroit Lions, Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell hate. We saw the report that I actually saw it from you first. That got put out that fans are sending Dan Campbell to his house hate mail after a week 2 loss, and he has to sell his house, and he is moving now in the middle of the season. At that, like, this man has to pack up his bags in the middle of the season. Can you just calm this fan base down a little bit, Doc? You're in the building. I just want you to calm the people down.
All right. Well, first of all, you made a mistake. In terms of you don't assume what the DOC ever is going to say. First of all, I'm 2 beers in.
Calm the people down, Doc. That's what I want.
Listen, I'm feeling lightheaded. I feel good. Now, first and foremost, it's one of those things, the beauty of the English language. Yes, Dan Campbell. And I told Christian, I said, you did an A- story, but it's one of those things where, yes, Dan Campbell put his house on the market because people were showing up to his houses after losses last year. It didn't happen just now. That's impossible.
That's
one
still
loss,
crazy.
2 days later, you put your house up. He's already built a palatial estate. You can go through the comments at Detroit Podcast. Somebody posted the photo, but it is a true story. Dan Campbell has said that he had too many people found out where he lived. They looked him up and they started showing up. So it was for security reasons. People knew where he was. He's already moved. He's now put his old house on the market because you can't have 2 mortgages. Man. You want the money. But it did happen, but it's not recent. Okay, now, I am a sports podcaster who has spent 10 years riling up the emotions, talking to the fans, talking about the game back and forth. And first and foremost, okay, now I'm talking as the semi-drunk psychologist here. You got to be a narcissist at a high level to tell the fans how to act. First of all, there's 4 or 5 million local Detroit fans. You think that a gal going on Twitter or Booner going, calm down, guys, calm down. You think that actually works? No. Here's what I say. However you feel that you need to express yourself, you express yourself. If you want to take a beer and slam it at your TV and be like, what the fuck are you doing, Jared Goff? They just paid you $53 million. Or if you want to say, gosh darn it, Dan Campbell, you're doing all these commercials, now we're losing. I don't give a flying fuck. I love that. I love the passion of the fans. And actually, I was lighting up the Twitter pages with stupid ass comments before Woodward Sports was. So that kind of shit, I didn't go to that level now at 45, but I love the passion of the fan base. Absolutely. If you want to roll and be mad and break microphones and break your television, by all means, you react however the hell you want, because emotions in sports is what it's about. I'm not sitting on my hands fucking ever. Now, if I'm not in the media, I'm the kind of fan that would be like, what the fuck, Ben Johnson? This is not NFL quality. So my personal reaction, not the trained professional journalist, the guy that you'd have a beer with at the bar, here's what I would say. That's not fucking Super Bowl level. What the fuck? This is the Detroit Lions that are expected to win the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. They don't look like that. Now, I'm not going to extrapolate that beyond Sunday, but through the first 2 weeks, that's not Super Bowl caliber play. That's what I tweeted. And I don't give a shit how people react. I think it's great. Sports fans are allowed to react. Why the fuck would I tell people to calm down? Calm down for what? They just lost the game. Winners win. Winners execute. So when I do, guys, here's how I operate.
Come on, Doc.
Okay, I'm only
You're not going 20-0 in a season. There's no reason for one.
No shit, Sherlock.
There's no reason for one game to be like, the season's over. Jared Goff's over. Get the man off his deal. We just paid. Come on, Doc.
Those reactions that people have are those that are nervous that you paid somebody $53 million, that when you're asked to call upon him to throw 55 times, he didn't put the team on his back for one game this week. And most of the time, when you look at it, that's not what you want. But that's not how this team was built. Now, that's what I would love to pay, someone $60 million and he just put the team on his back when the offense is not playing good and zing the football over the place. You can say that. But when you say calm down for what? You know what? In a week, people will respond to what they see against the Cardinals. But at this point in time, this team should be more scrutinized. This is and Dan Campbell said it. Hey, I don't want to fall back into bad habits, but Dan Campbell's making excuses. He's like, well, it might take 4 weeks for us to get into rhythm. No, you need to be. There are teams that are scoring 40 points in a week. You guys are playing it tight and close to the vest with a bunch of talent, with more talent than some of these teams. So to me, it's the height of narcissism to tell any fan how to act. You want to be mad? Be mad. You want to be livid and throw out hot takes on Twitter? Throw out whatever you want. My opinion has always been, that's the thesis of the Twitter page, and you can see it here. If I think it, I tend to say it. So why would you tell the fan base to calm down? Sports is passion. Sports is about, like, if I was an athlete, I would walk in there after a loss and be breaking things, and people would be like, what the hell? And just a glimpse into my life, I have a great month of August. Great. I enjoy a beer for half an hour, and I'm like, all right, how am I going to top September? How am I going to compete with all these other guys who are getting more credit than me? Look, guys, 4 new guys started podcasts. So to me, I look at it like, however you get down, and stop telling people how to act. It's the stupidest thing ever. You have sites dedicated.
That's crazy,
you literally
Doc.
have sites dedicated to calming the fan base down. It's a stupid concept.
Hey, Doc, I love you.
No.
The people need to calm down. It's week 2 of the NFL season.
Hey.
They do. It's week
Doc
2 of the NFL season.
Doc,
I love you.
Calm down.
Doc, it's week. So, like, the people who are saying the season's over, the random people out there that have them as a 10% chance to make the play. Like, what are we doing here? Calm down. Like, you can have your. Well, Doc, people can have their opinions all they want, but guess what? I can have my opinion and tell you to sit down and calm down. The Detroit Lions are going to be in the playoffs with 12 or 11 wins, and they're going to be just fine. You see what I'm saying?
Booner, you'll be saying that for the next 20 years.
And they will do it every year.
Exactly. So let the people spew what they spew, because guess what?
And I'll call those people out.
When they win,
it's like you're calling me out.
No, listen, Booner, when they win, they're like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. We're winning the Super Bowl. We're the best thing ever. Let's pay Jared Goff $53 million. The wild bipolar swings of fans is fanatics.
Exactly. So they need to calm down.
Let them be fanatics. It's fun.
They can be fanatics, but let's not be dumb fanatics. Let's be smart fanatics.
Bro, listen.
Realistic fanatics.
I don't want to keep shouting out your competition, but why did 200,000 people read a tweet that was really never going to happen? Because
it was the dumbest tweet of all time. That was the worst tweet I've ever seen.
No.
Ever.
The guy did his job. No, it's not the worst tweet.
And I love Travis. I texted Travis the other day. That was the worst tweet ever.
Nope. No, it's not.
It was the worst tweet of all time. Who's tweeting out Hendon Hooker? That's the dumbest tweet of all time.
Okay, wait. I invite you on Detroit Lions Lowdown.
All right,
I wrote that story. I asked him why he posted it. Read the comments. About 15% of people want Hendon Hooker right now. What are you gonna do?
That's the dumbest thing in the world. That's Doc. That's the fan base. I don't care if you're a fanatic and a fanatic can have their say. I respect that. But I also will call you out and say how dumb you are and how bad of a fanatic you are for doing that. And when you know what? When the Lions win a Super Bowl, those same people with Jared Goff, they're not allowed to. Don't celebrate. Don't. There's a difference between being a fanatic and being a hater.
The gate is closed, Pepe.
There's a difference from a fanatic and a hater. There's a SOL and brand new Lions.
I want to say this respectfully.
Go ahead.
I want to say this respectfully based on your fandom. You don't get any more bonus points for kissing Jared Goff's ass.
I don't, but I'm realistic.
You don't get
Doc,
you don't get any more. You're not a bigger fan than the hater. You're not a bigger fan than Travis. You may lick Jared Goff's balls and be like,
no. That's where you're wrong. I'm realistic.
Your fandom
Bring it
is
out,
not more important than the crazy fans. Just because you're a positive Pete doesn't mean the other crazy person is not entitled to their opinion. They're out there. I'm sorry.
Bring it up. Hendon Hooker is not realistic.
I've been screaming at the fans and debating with them. They will not stop with hot takes.
I don't care about Jared Goff.
You can think all you want, but you are not
gobbler.
limiting the crazies. You can drink 50 million gallons of blue Kool-Aid until you piss blue. They're not going to stop hating, bro. I'm sorry.
Doc, I don't care. Listen, the Hendon Hooker stuff, Doc, is not a take. It's not me loving
take.
Jared Goff. It's clickbait. That is not it. Hendon Hooker won't touch the field unless Jared Goff is injured for the next 2 years.
Yes.
We're week 2. That is the biggest clickbait piece of what I've ever seen in my life. That should not even be a topic. Doc, that's clickbait. Come on.
No, listen,
that's
it's
that's worse than me calling out fans for going at the team.
You're
that's
using
way
a
worse.
argument. It's a take that's not realistic to happen, but right now, Booner, there are a lot of people that are waiting to spend $200 for a Hooker jersey. I'm sorry, that's the case. Deal with it.
And those people are SOL fans who don't care about the football team.
They're out there. They're allowed to be wrong, but I don't limit them. I don't care. I actually like to know who is thinking that. I was surprised to read that many "we want Hooker" comments after week 2, but I enjoyed it. I said, that's not likely.
It's all the SOL fans coming out of the woodworks.
But who's to say in Fantasyland? Who's to say? You can't say if Hendon Hooker would have played one game against the Buccaneers. Who knows? Maybe they go 4 for 7 in the red zone. You don't know. Maybe his mobility helps him win a game for 1 week.
Doc, come on, Doc. That's clickbait.
No, it isn't.
Hendon Hooker's not touching the
sports, baby. That's how it is.
That's not sports. That is not sports. That's clickbait.
The sooner you embrace it, the more successful you will be. You're one-sided. You are one-sided positive Pete. And I say I open the door for the whole nation, baby. Spew your ignorance. Spew whatever you want. I don't limit nobody's opinion. Bring it all.
Doc, 30 seconds. As soon as I embrace that, as soon as you embrace that, fans need to sit down and their opinions need to sit down and relax in week 2 of a football season. That's when we'll shake hands and break bread.
No, bro. You invite everybody. You don't close the door to any opinion in the name of the sport.
Okay, that's fair. Freedom of speech. But guess what, Doc? I'm calling you out if you have dumb speech. If your speech is dumb, you're going to hear from me. And I'm going to tell you to sit down, calm down, and stop talking about Hendon Hooker to all those people.
Okay, so your opinion is everybody calm down. My opinion is everybody rile up. This is the football team we all support. So when they fuck up, you should be mad. And you should say whatever's on your heart.
Guess what I did on Monday? I called out Dan Campbell for 10 minutes and yelled at him. So, I do it too. But when the people say that the season's over and Jared Goff's done and Hendon Hooker, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in all of sports history. It's the worst of all time. And shout out Travis. I love Travis, but he knows it.
So clearly the chat knows I won. I whipped your ass in this argument.
I don't know. There's a lot of booners. There's a lot of booners.
I whipped your ass in that argument.
Doc.
And it's great.
That was unanimous decision.
Bro, you're like, Booner. Don't call. You're literally discussing things that are anti what we're doing.
All this was brand new Lions fan, SOL fan,
and give bull takes, not to be like, calm down, everybody. The first thing the fans do. The first thing that Booner and this gal Natalie and Pride of Detroit is calm down, everybody, calm down. Everyone's like, okay,
it's week 2. Calm down. What are we doing? There are errors.
You're gonna tweet.
There are errors.
You're gonna tweet in 15 years. Everybody, calm down. The Lions.
I won't. I'm tweeting week 2.
Calm down. They're not calming down.
Doc, if we're in week 10 and this is happening, I would be on the front lines of being like, fans, go get them. Let's go. We need a better product. It's week 2. You're 1-1.
The capital.
We are 1-1. Like, this is nothing great. Like, yes, offensively need to be better. Defense, and I love Doc too. People are in the chat are hilarious. This is actually.
Hey, I got a poll up.
Listen, but Doc, it is week 2 of the NFL season. This Lions team's about to go win Sunday, and they're gonna, like last year. They lost and started 1-1. They start 1-1 last year, and guess what happened? They went on like a 4-game win streak, and they go to an NFC Championship game still. But guess what? I'm not allowed to tell the people after week 2 last year, after the Seahawks game, calm down. No, I am, because guess what? They're going to go win 4 straight.
Listen, man. All I'm going to say, you can say calm down till you're blue in the face. Fans don't act like that, and I don't tell them what to do. I love the hot takes. I love it all. Like I said, I grew up listening to talk radio, and I love Stephen A. Smith. I love Mike Francesa. I love all those guys. Mike the Mad Dog. I love all those crazy people that have a bold opinion and go with it. So when you tell people to be quiet and just be like, oh, we'll get them next week. That to me is boring, man. Hey, passion and opinion. Look, yes, you're allowed to speak on, hey, that take is crazy. It's a little too out there. I get it. But I love to hear it, man, because those are the best people that you can have a drink with at the bar when you got your crazy uncle being like, God dang, that Goff, they paid him, and now look what happened. And you're just like, come on, man. You're a little bit.
I look over at Jeff and I go, oh, uncle's crazy. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
The best take now is, look at Dan Campbell. He would coach better if he didn't do those Applebee's commercial. I laugh. I think it's ridiculous, but it's funny. It's great to hear. I think that, to me,
this poll is close, Doc. This poll is close.
A passionate sports fan base, and literally,
right.
that's the reason why I wrote that story. That's why I wrote that story about Travis, is that journalists don't like any of this.
Well, that was just a
you're a capital J journalist.
I'm not.
Down.
No, Doc, I'm not. You're a capital J journalist, Doc. I'm not. You are.
Don't like emotion. You want to sit there and talk about the facts and talk about, well,
you're telling me I don't like emotion. You're the most emotional guy in the world.
Journalist. You don't like people spitting their wild takes all over the internet. I absolutely love it.
Doc,
I think that when people write about Hendon Hooker, you can laugh and debate. Look at all the people that were like, "Oh my God, that's crazy." That is sports, and that's the beauty of what. So you like all
right, Doc?
So
you
like clickbait. That I whipped your ass.
You like clickbait. I like realistic stuff, so I'm gonna be realistic and say this isn't a big deal. The Lions, you can have your opinion. I'm never in the world in my life freedom of speech. I don't know what in the whatever it is, freedom of speech, but I'm going to call your freedom of speech out. If people are thinking the Lions are done and the Lions are a bad football team and they put the Lions at 15 in their power rankings and they put Hendon Hooker out there, listen, Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions just went to an NFC Championship game. Jared Goff did that, not Hendon Hooker. And if you go out there and you're 1-1 and you're going to panic every time the Lions lose, they're going to lose again this year. Fun fact. Hey, everyone, guess what? The Lions will lose this year again. Yeah, so if you're going to go off after every single time they lose and put a picture of Hendon Hooker out there and go, oh, what's happening with this football team? Come on. What are we doing?
Booner, you're doing then such a shitty job with your messaging that nobody's calming down. Nobody's calming down.
I'm trying to calm the people down. The people who are mad, guess what? Doc, you're a therapist. You calm people down. You calm people down. I sit there and I try and call the people down.
You, Pride of Detroit, Natalie, all the mics.
No. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I call people out all the time.
He is the leader of the Calm Down tribe. Tell him, please stop.
That's all. We're the week 2, Doc.
Play this for him.
Week 2.
Stop with the excuses. Nobody cares. You don't legislate the fans. You don't legislate shit. So
Doc,
don't assume
you like clickbait.
that
I like to be honest.
Are going to listen to you. You are not that relevant to change a single fly on the walls of peace.
Oh, here we go.
That is what it is. That is what
you like clickbait. I liked honesty. That's what this is coming down to.
Listen, now, I will say this, okay? Now, we can get into the real fast thing. It's not clickbait when I spent 10 years building the audience and whatever I write, they come to it. The reason why they come and follow me is I have the balls to say something. If I say something that I think people don't like, I don't give a shit. I say it because they know that the guy that you're talking to is the guy you can have a beer with, and I am my authentic self. That if I were to post a story, if it comes out, then that is my opinion. I am not clickbait. I am somebody that people will listen to.
The Hendon Hooker stuff's fine.
Because I have an opinion that is bold sometimes. I just wrote a story that said trade James Houston. And then I walked up to him today and said, hey, I want to talk to you. And I don't know if he kind of looked at me like he read it or didn't read it. It don't matter. Sports is about being authentic and saying it. There's going to be crazy takes. This is nuts. Sports community is about speaking your mind.
This is Doc. This is insane that you're acting like I don't allow people to speak their mind.
It's a waste of time.
It's not.
What you should have did instead of saying calm down is drop some facts. Go to PFF and write that. Well, Jared Goff is not.
Well, if you listen on Monday, I did
4.3 grade against the and drop some facts. Calm down.
Go back
nothing. Calm down just reveals your narcissism and your belief that you can tell people what to do, and that's all it is. You are believing that your words have influence over millions of people. I don't believe that. I just know that if I say something, there's going to be some relevancy and people are going to read it. So
it's like you need to go back and watch your show Monday before the
when you say I'm a clickbait artist, it really is the height of ignorance, because I've been doing it for 10 years and nobody can last in a clickbait world. They just would tune you out. I would not be here every week if you guys thought I was just speaking nonsense.
The Hendon Hooker stuff.
I can say
the Hendon Hooker stuff is the biggest clickbait of all time.
I think that you like having me because I have an opinion that is different than
you have a great opinion,
than Mike Payton, than the Natalie fans of the world. I respect them. I like it. But my opinion is stop with the calm down. Nobody's listening to you. It's irrelevant. Stop with the calm down.
You know what? You're right, Doc. Freak out. Lions aren't going to a Super Bowl. They're
freak
terrible.
out. Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
People paid $250 to watch an offense that couldn't score a touchdown for them.
Obviously, Sunday was a bad football game.
The greatest thing on turf, and it ain't. So to me, the fan in me would say, "What the fuck is this out on the field?" Dan Campbell's been at this for 4 years. That offense looks like it does back in 2021. That's what the fan in me says. This offense looks terrible.
You know, you're right. This is a bad football team, Doc.
No,
I didn't say that.
You're right. No, but that's I can't say calm down. I can't be positive about the team. I get it. All right. I love Doc though.
Yeah, I know. Listen,
great job,
for all the people in the world, insult my takes.
TV.
You can insult my appearance. You can't call me a clickbait artist. When
the Hendon Hooker stuff is obviously clickbait. Exactly. That's exactly what clickbait is. You click on it. The Hendon Hooker stuff for sure.
Go do it. When I tell people, if it's so easy to do, go do it. I say that
the Hendon Hooker stuff
is I worked hard to build a loyal audience through dedication and knowledgeable takes for 6 years. And this is why a respectable company hired me, because I'm willing to give an opinion. Now, if you just want to minimize my opinion and call me a clickbait artist, it's funny because all that does is give me a little bit more motivation, but I'm not a clickbait artist. It's just not the case, because people want to read what I write. That's my expertise. I know what people will engage with at the highest level of information. That's my expertise. But I'm not saying it because I don't believe it. I have printed every word for 6 years I believe in. Every single word. So your comment on calling me a clickbait artist is the height of really disrespect, because
Doc, I'm not calling you clickbait artist from the jump.
The
Hendon Hooker tweet and all the Hendon Hooker stuff is clickbait stuff. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're clickbait, Doc.
I think you're underestimating how many people believe that Hendon Hooker can play better.
I think if we put a vote that if that Hendon Hooker tweet, Hendon Hooker tweet
article,
is clickbait.
That belief is out there. And I would say out of 100 people you would ask that question to, 22 would say, yes, I want Hooker in the game.
Yeah,
I want to talk to those people.
But you're still forming engagement. That tweet was forming engagement. I'm not saying this is you, Doc. This is the Hendon Hooker stuff. Not you. I'm saying the Hendon Hooker stuff is clickbait stuff. Like that.
You're talking about a specific tweet by another company.
Yes, Doc. I'm talking about I'm talking about the Hendon Hooker stuff. That type of stuff is clickbait stuff after game.
And Mr. Detroit City.
People.
Mr. Detroit City, just learn about me. Type in my name on Google. I invite you. I think there's a lot of good stuff on there. Type in my name. So educate yourself and stop being an ignorant. Type in my name. Listen, I always say my stance has always been about myself. I'm just in the mix. I started a podcast. I knew I could be a guy that could work in the media. I could prove everybody wrong. And now every single media company in the world does a podcast. And that's just the joy I have, is that the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, the M Lives, all the people starting their own websites, the Detroit News, all the blogs, they all have a podcast. Now, I knew that was going to be the case once I got into it in 2013. I fell in love with it. I knew it was when they told me it was non-traditional media and nobody would, follow this and it's not real. I just said, sure, watch this. So to me, in my opinion, I welcome all opinions into the farm. If they're crazy, then I just identify it as, that's not my style, my belief. But I like similarly to the tweet, I just said, man, you're trolling, keep it moving. I don't go, oh, calm down. No, the belief is out there. 20% of people believe that Hendon Hooker should be the starting quarterback. That's the case. I don't believe that. I don't believe he gives the team the best chance to win. But at the same token, if I'm paying out of my pocket $53 million, I ain't liking this check down shit. I'm like, throw this shit a little bit more. Hey, pick this team up when they're struggling. Hey, why is Tim Patrick breaking right when he's supposed to break left? That's on you. Get your shit together with your boys and make this offense score points. That's Jared Goff's job. At $53 million, your ass got to look like Tom Brady out there. So let's go. And he's got to start to progress that way. Otherwise, those Jared Goff chants are going to start to turn to heavy groans.
Yeah, you got. Hey, by the way, hey, hey.
I could just sit back and
unequivocally won the debate, but Booner,
I disagree.
Listen, in 5 years when you have me, I'm gonna be looking like, how's that calm down shit working for you, bro? Calm down.
I mean, we'll have two
Super
Bowls, so I'm pretty calm.
The calm down. Okay, I'm gonna say this to you from my perspective. If you keep saying calm down, it's just it becomes like piss in the wind. It means nothing because it will not do anything. Nobody in sports that is passionate will calm down when it comes to the football team. It doesn't work that way. Nobody calms down. So listen, you can say it. I respect it. I understand your idealistic nature of, hey, let's support the team. Let's all be on the same page. Let's not say wild ass shit. To me, the wild ass shit is something I look at and I go, okay, that's some wild ass shit. But I smile and I laugh and I dab them up. And all I'm saying is, the calm down crowd has been saying calm down since I dialed up Twitter for the first time in 2009.
I mean, Doc, you misunderstood the whole thing I say.
You will say that shit till the day you die.
I don't think
it will have no meaning. Sports is about passion and letting it rip. If you have a take, say it. Spread it.
And my take is it's week 2. Calm down.
Crazy take. If you've jumped off the bandwagon after week 2, so be it. But you're not a better fan than anybody else that has those hot takes. Everybody is all in the same boat wanting the Lions to win. It's just that some people are a little bit wilder with their emotion. They drink 4 of these instead of 2. Everybody's different. But if you're going to come out there every week they lose and be like,
well, I didn't say it every week.
Everybody calm down. Bro, the best
you're throwing words in my mouth now. I don't say it every week.
The best Twitter in the world is Lions Twitter during games, after games. All opinions are welcome in my mind. And it's whatever it is, wild take, cold take, whatever it may be, it's all great. The calm down crowd, it's true, is not going to get anywhere in the world of sports. So you can try it. You can be the leader of the calm down crowd. But I'm telling you, when I turn 50 and have that celebration at the bar with all those things that I would enjoy, I will tell you, nobody's calming down.
Doc, you're completely again. You're misunderstanding this whole thing here. I'm saying calm down in week 2. I don't say that. I don't.
1 week 2 preseason.
You just always want to be you always want to look at the negatives.
Calm down.
Now I just got it. You're just looking at. I get it. It's just like, hey, it's week 2. If you watch the show Monday and Tuesday, I had a ton of negative things to say about Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, some of the defense, the offensive line, so everything, and I went at some people. But at the end of the day, this is week 2. If this was week 10, I promise you I wouldn't be sitting up here saying calm down. I'm not the leader of the calm down path. I don't say it week after week after week after week. It's week 2. The Lions are 1-1. There are things to fix. We can call those things out to fix, but guess what? It's week 2 of a 17-game season. It's easy to look at people and look at somebody in the eyes and say, you have 15 more games.
The chat, 15 more games. Calm down every take you have. Calm down. Calm down. Every good take you have, calm down.
It's not. It's the people who want to end the season.
Everybody,
all right.
Message let Booner learn. He's the captain of the calm down crowd. Just message him. Calm down. Calm down.
He's not.
Calm down. You're getting a little out of pocket with me. I don't like your tone. Calm down. I'm not happy. It's week 2. Calm down. It's not something that's going to fly with our conversation. You need to calm down.
I
won.
I don't know.
You guys are fucking ridiculous.
Okay, now, partly this debate was alcohol fueled, and I do believe in it, but I'm not going to remember it probably in half an hour. But Booner, I have a lot of respect for you. And I just that's the number one thing I laugh at online is right away, calm down, everybody, calm down. It's like, no, you want to engage that kind of talk. It's hilarious. It's entertaining. It's wild. It's the best thing ever in sports. That's why I got into it, was to read and listen to stupid shit like that. I loved it. I love it. All of it, top to bottom. Wild takes, to jump on the bandwagon, to jump off the bandwagon. I love all of it. You should embrace it. Once you embrace it, you feel better, and you never have to tell people what to do. You just state your opinion and keep it moving, bro. That's my humble opinion. And sorry I had to whip you in the debate, but that's just
I don't think you whipped me. I just think you talked a little more than me. That's about it.
You know what's
I love you, Doc.
And this is you know what, Doc? We appreciate you. This is just fucking electric. You know what? I'll speak and like I'll let you guys go at it. This is and this is why I do appreciate you both. But Booner, people look at Booner as the voice of reason. And I'm like you, Doc, more so, and I line with you where I'll say some shit, and sometimes Booner's got to be like, hey, Jeff, like, not calm down. That's like not, Booner doesn't tell me to calm down, but he'll be like, hey, look at it like this. And that's why we have that good relationship. And we have that, and we argue. But I do appreciate how Booner is, and I do appreciate the Doc because he comes on Wednesdays, and the motherfucker just brings it. So, hey, Doc, you enjoy your night. You keep up the great work. We'll catch you next Wednesday.
Keep being a legend, Doc.
Hopefully, no doubt, Booner. Hey, we can yell and scream at each other. I have the utmost respect for what you do. I got the Lions 26-24. I think they rebound. I think Jake Bates might have the opportunity for a game winner. It's going to be close. Please contain Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray. Those are the two.
You got a score prediction?
Yep, 26-24 Lions. They go to 2-1. Just make sure Budda Baker doesn't light up Amon-Ra St. Brown. Make sure you handle business. Run the rock. Handle business. And, hey, if Jared Goff plays bad, do we talk about benching him? Find out next week on Crunch Time with DOT.
Oh. What was that? What was that?
Look at these
What was that?
And he's gone.
What was that? Something I'm not allowed to call. But what was that?
And he's gone. Oh,
when you fought.
I mean, what was that?